Hi, in this video I'm going to give you a couple of tips on what to do if you're in the IELTS speaking test and you feel like you really don't know the answer. And this could happen. The examiner could ask you a question and maybe you understand that question, it's pretty clear, but you feel like you've got no idea on maybe it's the topic or kind of your experience of that topic. Maybe you feel like you just don't know the answer. And well, what should you do when this happens? And I've got a couple of tips here that should help you out when you have this kind of question where you feel like you really have no idea. Really, from my point of view, I feel like most of the questions that you will get in the IELTS test don't require a massive amount of knowledge on any topic. They're designed quite well to be able to be answered by most people. And most people will have some sort of experience with the questions that come up. But there is a chance that you're in the test and you feel like you really don't have much experience, you haven't thought about this topic before. But really, you're going to have to answer because you want to show the examiner your English skills, your ability to communicate in English. And this is why a massive amount of knowledge on a topic is not really needed, because the examiner isn't really testing your level of knowledge on a topic. They're testing your ability to communicate clearly in English. So let's get on with it. Let me show you these two tips and I'll show you an example question and answer that kind of follows these two tips. So the first thing is to be honest and say why you don't know. It's pretty simple here, right? You don't want to try and pretend and like you know lots about the topic. Just be honest. Tell them you don't really know, but also tell them why. What's the reason? Why don't you have any experience with this? Why have you not thought about this topic before? Explain why. Because then that is showing the examiner some skills with your English communication. You're telling them that you don't know and you're explaining why. That's not the only thing you should do, but it's a good start. You're trying to speak a bit and the examiner is listening to your English and they're able to assess your speaking. The second thing that you can do is to guess and let the examiner know that you're guessing. Now, it's okay if your answer really is completely wrong, really. I mean, it's not about it being right or wrong. There is no right and wrong answer to an IELTS question. But here you're going to be just trying your best to guess an answer. But make sure you make it clear to the examiner that that's what you're doing. Again, this shows good communication skills. You're able to communicate that this is what you're doing, that you're guessing. And it's okay to do it. It's fine. They're just listening to your English. That's the idea of the IELTS speaking test. Now, this is likely to happen maybe in part 3 of the test or even part 1 of the test. These are the parts of the test where the examiner is asking you questions out loud and you're giving an answer straight away. You don't have time to prepare an answer. You've just got to give an answer. Understand the question and then give the answer. If you don't know the answer, then these two tips could help you to give a nice, clear answer that can be a very high level answer. Remember, you don't really need to know a lot about the topic to give a good answer in the IELTS speaking test. So what I'm going to do now is just show you a question taken from part 3 of the IELTS speaking test. I feel like part 3 is the kind of most likely part where you'll get a question that you feel like, ooh, I don't really know. And then I'll show you an answer that follows these two tips. So let's have a look at the question. Have areas of the countryside in your country changed since you were young? To be honest, I don't really know. because I don't spend much time in the countryside. However, I suppose it hasn't changed significantly. The rural areas surrounding the city I live in seem pretty similar to the way they were in the past. Maybe they're protected by the government, so construction isn't allowed. So there you go. You can see with that question, it's the kind of question that some people might panic a little bit about. There's a chance that, well, you can't remember that far back in the past when you were a child. This is the type of question that's getting you to compare the past with the present. And often this type of question will go back even before you were a child. It might say 30 years ago or 50 years ago. This is the type of question that I find a lot of students will panic with. They'll think, ooh, I've got no idea. How am I meant to answer? Also, the topic, the countryside. Some people who live in a city might not have much experience with this kind of environment. And again, this type of topic might make some people panic when they get this type of question. So that's why I've chosen this question to kind of demonstrate these kind of two pieces of advice, these two steps that you can follow if you get a question where you feel like you don't know the answer. So if we have a look at each sentence in the answer and how it follows these two tips. The first sentence here, to be honest, I don't really know. That's the first part of the answer, right? And that is following the first tip. Be honest. Be honest. And we made that clear. We've even used the word honest there. To be honest, and then I don't really know. So we've been straight to the point. And it's okay. It's fine to do this. Some people think that this might bring your score down if you say you don't know. But remember, the examiner is not testing your knowledge. They're testing your ability to communicate in English. Then we've explained why. We haven't forgotten to do that in the very first sentence. We've used the word because, and then given the reason. Because I don't spend much time in the countryside. And there we go. That's the reason. Right? We don't have much experience with this. And again, we've just been straight to the point. We've been honest and we've given a reason why we don't know. We're not finished there. I feel like we've got to still follow that second tip. We've got to give the examiner a bit of a guess. We've got to try at least to answer that question. And again, this takes a bit of practice, going through these types of questions where you're not really sure and being more confident to make a guess. So that's what we've done here in the second sentence. You can see we've contrasted that admission of a lack of knowledge with a guess. So we started with the word however in this second sentence. And then I suppose it hasn't changed significantly. So again, we've let the examiner know we're guessing by using the word suppose. It shows that we're not sure about our answer. We just think we're kind of guessing. Maybe it hasn't changed significantly. I suppose it hasn't changed significantly. Again, we're still showing skills in English here. We're using the appropriate vocabulary. We're kind of using a tense that fits the style of the question. Comparing the past with the present, well, we're using present perfect. So again, we're showing all these skills that we need to get a high score in the IELTS speaking test without having a really deep knowledge on the topic of the question. Then we go on to explain a bit more. The rural areas surrounding the city I live in seem pretty similar to the way they were in the past. So again, we just show that we're not sure by using the word seem here. Well, it seems this way. I'm not 100% sure, but we're giving some kind of explanation afterwards. We're still guessing, making it clear that we don't really know. But again, this sentence shows some skill that the examiner is looking for. We're comparing the present with the past. It seems pretty similar to the way they were in the past. So we're contrasting here, the present with the past. It's showing some grammatical skill. And then we explain even more. Maybe they are protected by the government, so construction isn't allowed. So there we go. Showing that we're not sure, showing that we're guessing using the word maybe. So there we go. That's all we've done there. Okay, I can see how the second kind of tip that we're giving to guess is slightly challenging, because again, if you feel like you don't know, it might be difficult even to guess. But for sure, that first step is quite simple to follow. Just being honest and explaining why you don't know. I feel like it is important to go through that second step as well. And it's okay if you really don't know to have some sort of guess. And it's fine if factually your guess is completely wrong. It doesn't matter. That is not what the examiner is testing. Remember, they're testing your ability to communicate in English, and by following these 2 steps, if you don't know the answer, you'll be able to show those communication skills. So there we go. Hopefully that's going to help some of you when you're in the actual test. It's also worth practicing this technique before you actually go to the test, because like I said, especially the second step of guessing is not very easy to do, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. So there we go. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel. And if this video was useful, then do click the like button. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.